4 years ago, I travelled to a harbour about an hour from my home in Dublin, Ireland. It was a fresh, sunny September afternoon, and locals were enjoying leisurely walks along the pier. Most scientists undertake their fieldwork in remote places, but luckily for me, I can just hop on a bus and wander through the city suburbs to do mine. This was day one of my PhD. My supervisor and I lowered a net into the water, and we had no idea what we were going to find. When we brought it back up, I immediately knew that we had caught them. But what were we trying to catch? This is a comb jelly. These jellyfish-like creatures are about the size of a grape. They have an elaborate web of tentacles and paddles along their body that beat up and down and propel them through the water. But why were we trying to catch them? I'm a neurobiologist, and I want to understand how brains control behaviour. I was really surprised to find out just how far we are from understanding how the brain works. This structure literally defines our very existence and allows us to appreciate all the richness of life. So why is it that we don't understand how it works? The fundamental role of all nervous systems is to take in sensory information from our external environment, make a decision about how to respond, and then invoke that behaviour. Now, in the human brain, this is done with 86 billion neurons. And if we want to understand how it works, we need to know what every single cell is doing while a person is doing something. And it's just not feasible. We need a small animal with a simple brain and simple behaviours. And the comb jelly is about as simple as you can get. They spend most of their time drifting along in the water, waiting for a prey to get stuck on their sticky tentacles. When they catch one, they'll spin their entire body around to bring the prey into the mouth. Now, they can control this simple behaviour and a host of others with just a few thousand neurons. I've been able to comprehensively map these behaviours in the lab. However, this is an artificial environment. It's very controlled. So how do we know if the behaviours are also artificial? With thanks to funding by the National Geographic Society, I was able to deploy underwater drones in our jelly collecting sites to study the behaviour in the wild. What we found is that jellies in the sea are 12% more active than jellies in the lab. And now the next step would be to figure out why this is. What it does tell us is that even for a simple animal, they're not so simple after all. Our brain is our connection to the world around us. It is shaped by our experiences and our environment. And this has really important implications for how we understand the brain and how we study behaviour. If we want to understand how the brain works, even in the simplest of animals, we need to get out of the lab and study the behaviour of animals in their natural environment. Thank you.